my video. I'm Lestari and today I'm going to share you a very interesting topic and it's about noun phrase. So what is noun phrase actually? Are you curious about that? If yes, continue watching this video. Well, before we go further to talk about what noun phrase is, it's really important to know the basic information about phrase. So what is phrase? Actually, phrase is a combination of two or more words that function as a meaningful unit within a sentence or a clause. For an examples, Brad Flower is reading so handsome very quickly. They are kinds of phrases. Important to know that a phrase doesn't have a subject and verb combination within the phrase itself, and sometimes we find that the form of a phrase can be very long, which sounds like a sentence, but we cannot consider it as a sentence yet because there is no any subject or verb within the phrase itself. So there are 5 kinds of phrases. Noun phrase, which is headed by a noun. Variable phrase, headed by a verb. Adverbial phrase, which is headed by an adverb. Adjectival phrase, headed by an adjective. And the last one is prepositional phrase, which is headed by a preposition. But now, I'm not going to talk about all those phrases. However, I'm gonna focus on one phrase only, and it's about noun phrase. So, noun phrase is a phrase that is headed by a noun. It means that there is only one main word as a head within the phrase, which is a noun, and the other words will perform as modifiers. Alright, usually in a sentence or a clause, noun phrase can function as a subject or an object. It depends on the context used within the clause or sentence itself. Then, in a noun phrase, and of course for another phrases, it's obvious for us to have modifier inside the phrases. So what is modifier actually? Modifier is a kind of words or phrase that modify the head of the phrase. There are 2 types of modifiers, pre-modifiers and post-modifier. First one is pre-modifier. Pre-modifier is a kind of modifier that comes right before the head of the phrase. An example, dazzling eyes, a man, the school. So the modifier dazzling, and also the is kinds of pre-modifier. And the second one is post-modifier. Post-modifier is a kind of modifier that comes right after the head of the phrase. Take an examples, the scientist with long hair, the book on the table. So the words with long hair and also on the table is kind of post modifiers because it comes right after the head of the phrase. Usually, a noun phrase consists at least one element. It is a head. But a complete noun phrase will consist 4 elements. They are determiner, adjunct, complement, and the last one is, of course, the head as the most important part within the phrase itself. So now, let's talk about all those elements. The first one is determiner. Determiner is a kind of words that introduce a noun. Usually, determiners can be in form of quantifiers, demonstrative, article, possessive, and many more. Take examples. Some apples, many schools, a book, the school. So all those words like some, many, a, and the is kind of determiner. Well, now let's move to the second element. It's about adjunct. So what is adjunct? Basically, adjunct is a kind of words or phrase that is optional. It means that it is not necessary to be involved within a phrase. But actually, when we add an adjunct in our phrase, it means that we add more information or give an extra meaning within the phrase itself. Now, have a look on this example. A young boy with red cap. So the phrase with red cap is a kind of adjunct, because if we only say a young boy, it's fine. The words with red cap is only giving an extra meaning or giving more information towards the head of the phrase, which is, in this context, boy is the head of the phrase. The third one is complement. So what is complement actually? Complement is a kind of words or phrases which is really necessary to be added within a phrase, because it will complete the meaning or the information about the phrase itself. Take an example. A queen of Egypt. So the phrase of Egypt is a kind of complement because it completes the meaning of the head of the phrase, which is, in this context, the head of the phrase is queen, and it is completed with the other phrases, that is of Egypt, and it performs as complement. Another example is an English teacher. So the word English is a kind of complement because it completes the meaning of the head within the phrase itself, which is, in that context, teacher is the head of the phrase, and it is completed with the word English as the complement. And the last element is the head as well. So head is the main word of the phrase. Of course, because we are talking about noun phrase, it means that the head of the phrase should be a noun. Take an example: car, cat, photography, and etc. They are kinds of head. Alright, we have talked about 4 elements that involve within a complete phrase. And now I'm going to talk about X-bar theory, which is related to our topic. Usually, this theory is used to explain in every detail that a phrase is constructed by every element, and it is done by showing a tree diagram. To make it more clear, I will explain the tree diagram using a script.
Alright, so now let's move to discuss about X-bar theory and the noun phrase itself. In here, I have provided you a screen in which I will explain all the information about the structure of the noun phrase that is derived from X-bar theory throughout this screen. But before we go further, it's important to know what is X-bar theory. X-bar theory is a theory of syntactic category formation. This theory shows how a phrase is organized, and in order to depict the organization, we usually use tree diagram. In here, noun phrase that consists of different elements will have different form of tree diagram. And now we will discuss it one by one. Now, have a look for the first example in which we focus on the noun phrase that consists of determiner. The example of the noun phrase is an eye-catching decoration, in here, the head of this phrase is decoration, and the article an performs as determiner. In determiner rule, we know that determiner expands n bar into n double bar, and determiner is the sister of n bar and also the daughter of n double bar. So from this phrase, an eye-catching decoration, an performs as determiner, eye-catching performs as adjunct, this is an adjective phrase, and decoration performs as the head of the phrase. The second example focuses on the noun phrase that consists of adjunct. Have a look for the example, the brown wooden table. So this is kind of noun phrase in which the head of this phrase is table, and the word brown and also wooden is examples of adjuncts. So in here there are 2 adjuncts. If we use the adjunct rule to make the tree diagram of this phrase. So the illustration will be like this, in which, as always, determiner will always expand n bar into n double bar. And in here, the determiner is the adjuncts are brown and wooden, which is they are adjective phrases, and the head of this phrase is table. Important to know that in adjunct rule, the adjunct, in here, this is the adjunct will be always the sister of n bar and also the daughter of n bar as well. Then the third noun phrase focus on the existence of complement within the phrase itself. For instance, the age of Elizabeth. This is kind of noun phrase in which the head of this phrase is age, and the words of Elizabeth is kind of complements, and this complement is past modifier because it comes right after the head age. So when we apply the complement rule, we know that the complement will be always as sister with noun and also the daughters of n bar. And because this phrase contains of determiner, so determiner expand n bar into n double bar. Now the fourth example deals with the noun phrase that consists only a head. It means that there is no any modifiers within the phrase itself. For an example, the word education is a kind of noun phrase in which if we see the tree diagram of this phrase will be as in like this illustration, that n double bar turn to be n bar turn to be n until we get the head of this phrase is education. Alright, previously I have explained to you the examples of tree diagrams of the noun phrase that consists of determiner, adjunct, a complement, and head only. But on this example, this is kind of complete noun phrase because in this phrase there are determiner, complement, adjunct, and head as well within this phrase itself. So please have a look on this example. A box of magic in the castle. This is a complete noun phrase. That box is the head of the phrase. A perform as determiner. The words of magic is the complement and it is past modifier. And in the castle is the adjunct and it is past modifier as well. So a complete noun phrase that has all elements will have the tree diagram as like this illustration. If we remember the rule of all those elements like determiner, adjunct, and also the complement, we can see that determiner always expands n bar into n double bar. Meanwhile, for the adjunct rule, so in the castle is the adjunct, which is a prepositional phrase. In the adjunct rule, the adjunct will always be the sister of n bar and also the daughter of n bar. So they are sister and this is the daughter. Meanwhile, for the complement rule, so of magic is the complement, which is a prepositional phrase. We can see that a complement will always be sister of and also the daughter of n bar. So this is the tree diagram of a complete noun phrase that contains of determiner, of the head is box, of magic is the complement, and the adjunct is in the castle. So that's all the explanation about the tree diagrams of noun phrase from X-bar theory. Every noun phrase will have different structure within the tree diagram, depends on the elements consist within the phrase itself.
Alright, that's all from me about noun phrase. I hope that this video can be very beneficial for you and you can learn something valuable from this video. Thank you for watching and it's so glad to share this lesson to you. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask me. So, thank you and see you.